Another video about brake assembly repair is sort of an emergency repair, and this is a rear wheel brake system. It's a generic system. It's a Pajero car or Montero made by Mitsubishi, but it's a generic type of work. And if you want to save a couple of $100 and do it by yourself, yeah, that I think it's an easy, very easy job. It's one of the easiest jobs in a car repair. So it's up to you if you want to follow my advice, but this is not a step-by-step procedure. It's just a number of tips that I'm using for this emergency repair because I forgot my my brake caliper compressing tool at home, and I could not scream for mom, I could not cry, I could not do anything because nothing would help me to get the job done. So crying, it doesn't help. So you have to open your mind, and if someone taught you some sort of a procedure, how you do it, what tools you need, yes, you could do that if you have everything handy. But if you are somewhere in the bush, or if you are like me, forgot the stuff, and you don't have the right tool, then you have to be creative and open your mind. So I pushed this piston in because once you install new brake pads, so this is a brand new pad, when I compare to this one, which I took it out and it's still all right, still has a lot of material left. This one was the other one, but one of the wheels was almost completely worn out. So since I did one wheel, I decided that I could do the second wheel as well, since I have some time here, and it's cold, it's in Vancouver, and running nose, but I don't know if it's fun. I like it. It's kind of accomplishment. So before I got to that point, working on a caliper, and I'll show you how I push that one in. It's easy. What I did, I used some sort of brake cleaner, and I cleaned all the, or almost all the asbestos dust and all the rust around this mechanism. So cleaning here, cleaning the adjuster underneath, cleaning these anchor points. So these shoes are part of the handbrake assembly. So they have an anchor point, so they can kind of self-adjust according to the surface of the drum. And the same with the other one. Then there's a spring mechanism, then an adjusting mechanism that kind of senses when the shoes are worn out. I'm not a mechanic, so I just look at the systems, and I learn it by understanding how the engineer designed. So I never read anything about brakes and stuff. Maybe I learned that one when I was in grade 8, I guess, at physics. I forgot, but like 40 years ago maybe. And so anyway, those areas need to be lubricated with high temperature silicone. Like it's a brake grease, and so brake lubricant, and it's synthetic, this one. And you read some instructions, and you can learn a lot from reading instructions of the products. So you don't really have to go to mechanic school or training or something like that for these basic jobs. So unless you have lots of money and you want to give the job to someone else, and you want to watch TV or do something else maybe. But if you are curious and you want to know what you drive, because it's important to know how the systems work. It's not just like you use the car like a tool and take you to A to B. You should understand how your body is working, how your car is working, how your pen, your computer, stuff you use around, you should understand. So coming back to the brake job, so I have these new pads, So prior to installing that pad into that location, I use a steel brush and I cleaned pretty good, because this steel clamps that are supposed to allow the pad to adjust and stay flat and move against the rotor, they are supposed to be lubricated. So this one the surface of the brake pad is parallel to the surface of the drum, right? So if you don't lubricate those areas, sometimes this one kind of is offset and is not wearing out properly or equally. And so you clean up this area with a steel brush, you clean this area. Lots of rust I found on one, because one of the mechanics replaced probably this one, and it seems that it's different brand, different material, got lots of rust. So I had to clean that one, and I lubricated a bit just to prevent rust for maybe a year, I hope. I take this one to launch the boat in the ocean, so kind of helps out to prevent the rust. And you see these bolts, so you need to take these bolts out, of course, in order to take the caliper out. But these bolts, I cleaned the old silicone lubricant, and I put fresh silicone inside, so they should slide very nicely. You don't have to feel much of a resistance. You feel some sort of a soft silicone sliding action here, and that's supposed to go. And check the rubber. This is kind of a seal that prevents the water and the dirt to get into the lubricated area, to the sliding area. Okay, so I installed this brake pad here, so the opposite one, and it has some sort of a hose on the side, so make sure you seat this one properly, and you lubricate all the contact points, so contact between the caliper and the brake pad, behind. Okay, so it tries to stay away from the surface, so it will the silicone, if it ends up onto the surface, it will wear out with rubbing and frictional shock. But you don't want any type of grease to reach these braking surfaces or on the drum as well. So you should clean with some brake cleaner before you put the wheel back on.